Hi, I'm Julia Nuclei, and this is a video on relationships in astrology and the three main tests they have to pass in order to make it through time. And the first test is Saturn. This asks the question of, is the person wanting the work and the responsibility of a relationship, or are they just wanting the benefits and the pleasure? It's really similar to getting a dog. Anyone can be attracted to a furry little puppy and taking it home. But lots of people don't keep their dogs over time because they weren't really wanting the work and responsibility of a dog. They were just attracted to how cute it is. And likewise, anyone can be like, oh, look, a whole person. I want that person. But that doesn't mean that they're really wanting the work, the added work, and the responsibility of a relationship. And if they aren't, Saturn is going to take it out pretty quickly. So when people have Saturn problems, you're generally going to see that their whole life is filled with really short-term relationships, because nothing can last that long without this basic piece in place. And one aspect of this is, do they know how to work as a team? Because the thing about it is that a person can only take on so many responsibilities. Wow, can you hear that sound? That's really annoying. I'm just going to talk through it. I can do it. A person can only take on so many responsibilities if those responsibilities aren't benefiting them. So the question is this a person who can, hang on. The question is this person someone who can benefit from being on a team? Because having a bicycle adds an extra burden and responsibility to a person, but if they know how to ride it, they can get someplace so much faster that it becomes worth it. Likewise, if a person knows how to work as a team, they realize that while this person and this relationship might be added work and responsibility, it will also help them achieve their own goals so much more easily that it's worth it. But if they don't understand how to work as a team and how to let another person help them solve their problems, then it will probably end up feeling to them like the relationship isn't worth it. And the thing is, if you have this type of person, you can't resolve the problem by just being so easy and so lightweight that there's no burden on them. Because the fact is that once Saturn comes into play, even if you asked absolutely nothing of them, when Saturn hits, it will take away the fun parts of the relationship, right? So from their perspective, there won't be anything left. Because when Saturn hits a relationship, it's sort of like the winter. It knocks off the flowers and stuff temporarily. But for some people, that's totally fine because they can focus on other things like working together as a couple, and then the spring comes back. But for people who only understand the relationships in terms of flowers and they don't understand it in terms of roots, then the relationship is over and they're gone. So that's really the first thing you need to figure out is this person someone who wants the work, the responsibility, and the teammate aspect of a relationship. In fact, maybe rather than dating people, we should try working with people to see how they work, how they work in a partnership, how they work as a team, to see if we're compatible. And ultimately, I don't think it comes down so much to compatibility as it comes down to whether each individual is capable of functioning as a team. Okay, so that is Saturn. That's the first test. And the second test is Uranus. And Uranus is Uranus. And that is about how much freedom is there in a relationship. And there's two aspects that this freedom has to take. One, each individual has to have freedom to grow and have relationships outside of the relationship, right? And the second aspect of freedom is that as a couple, people have to grow and be willing to take on new experiences. Like, you want someone where if you're like, hey, honey, let's join a cult. Maybe they won't just run off and join a cult right then and there, but they'll at least be like, well, okay, how about we join a cult for one weekend and see how we like it, So they're willing to some extent, to be open to new ideas and to have new experiences with you and to change with you. So those are really the two aspects of Uranus, is people having freedom outside of the relationship and there being internal openness to new experiences in the relationship. And if you don't have that, then you will get taken out by a Uranus transit, most likely because one party will cheat. But having this openness if you don't have the Saturn thing in place where there's like some kind of responsibility to each other in the relationship, then having the openness is irrelevant, because if you have openness but no responsibility, then it's not really a relationship. It's just, I guess, people having sex or whatever. Or friends having sex, maybe. I don't know. Okay, so that's the second part, is Uranus. And then the third part is Pluto. And Pluto is this person willing to, well, I first have to say, these are successive. Like, if you can't pass the Saturn level, the Uranus level is irrelevant. And if you can't pass the Uranus level, the Pluto level is relevant. Because Saturn transits happen more frequently, so that's going to take you out first. And then the Uranus is second most fast, so that's going to take you out second. But then if you pass that test, then you're going to have to pass the Pluto test, which is the final test. If you can get past the Pluto test, that's when you stay together after death. Uranus relationships will end at death. Pluto relationships will go on. Okay, so anyway, Pluto is basically about depth. And that's, is this person willing to go deep with you? Are they willing to explore their own dark side and their own psyche with you? Are they willing to be sexually open with you? Pluto has a lot to do with sex. So ultimately, because there's going to be Pluto transits where either the relationship is going to have to get deeper and explore those dark things together, or one person is going to basically become obsessed with a figure outside of the relationship and leave. So, and the Pluto has a lot to do with things like, would the person be willing to discuss sexual fantasies with you? And I need to make a video on sexual fantasies, because this is actually a really fascinating subject, which is really similar to dream interpretation. Like, I think lots of women get freaked out by sexual stuff because they just use it to, as a reason to, like, hate themselves. Like, oh, I found him jerking off to dwarf porn. This means he doesn't think I'm small enough, or whatever, you know. But it's like, really, sexual fantasies are, like, I think messages. They're coded messages, similar to dreams, that can really lead to, like, healing on a deep level, and also open you up to new things, including supernatural things. So that's a really interesting subject, but we'll say that for a different video. But the point is that they have to be willing to go deep with you, or they will eventually get taken out by a Pluto transit. So those are the three things you need, basically, which is responsibility, freedom, and depth. I'm Julie Nackley. I thank you.